Hi, everyone. Hi. This is my first Facebook Live, this is my first YouTube Live. So if you can hear me, you can comment below and just let me know that everything's okay. It kind of looks like my microphone is working. And I hope that you can hear me and see me okay. Feel free to put in the chat to just let me know that you're here. I wanted to introduce myself and give you a little bit of information about me before we get started, and also what to expect in this class. This class is a trauma-informed yoga class, and it is a gentle yoga class. So I'll tell you a little bit about what each of those are so you have some expectations or some clear understanding of what we're doing today. So first, my name is Julie, and I'm a yoga teacher. I have a couple thousand hours of yoga teaching under my belt, but this is my first trauma-informed yoga class to the public. So it's a big deal for me, and just know this is not the most polished version of trauma-informed training or teaching that I'll be able to give, but it is, a great beginning point. I have, over the last year, done a handful of trauma-informed trainings, and I love them very much, and have really appreciated and learned a great deal about what is trauma-informed versus what is trauma-sensitive. And so this is a trauma-informed class, which means that I am informed. I have training and experience. I have done the work of really coming to understand how trauma and different forms of trauma and complex trauma can influence the experience that a person has in a yoga class. Trauma sensitive in the reverse means that someone is conscious and aware to some extent, but doesn't have the extent of training and certification that a trauma-informed class does. So that means that this class may look a little different from another yoga class if you've ever done yoga before. In this particular trauma-informed class, you might notice that I use only English words, so there's no Sanskrit. We will move a little bit slower so that we have information on what each of the shapes are that we'll make. We call our shapes, and we're just more conscious of how we speak and refer to the body in this class. Let me think if there's anything else. I would also say, and this is the most important part, that this is all optional. So in some yoga classes, there is an expectation of the body to make certain shapes certain ways. And in this class, we really unpack the directions in a way that offers you choice. So everything that I give you in this class, everything that you are, offered in the space of our time together is a choice. And I want you to, be able to experience that in a way, hopefully, that empowers you and that gives you the space to move and direct movement in a way that is empowering and supportive for your body as it is today. I think that's everything. So a gentle yoga class is going to be less movement and slower movement than an all levels class or a vinyasa class or a power yoga class, all of which could be trauma-informed classes. And over time, I will definitely weave in some of those other modalities in the trauma-informed spectrum. So after this video, and probably in the comments below, I will share an email list that you can sign up for if you would like to do more trauma-informed classes with me. I think that I will separate the trauma-informed classes out of this channel and put them in a separate channel, so it is all just trauma-informed yoga and movement and mindfulness, and even maybe some meditation in that form and in one place. A few people have asked about where I got trained. I think that's in the comments below, and I will also share more information on that because I have so much to share on what programs have worked really well and what haven't. And I think that's really important to know in the spectrum of the yoga world. We can throw terms around a lot that don't necessarily have the same meaning. And so for me here, it's important for me to provide as much context to what we're talking about, so we're all coming from the same place. So with that, let's get started. And so for class today, all you will need is a blanket, and if you have it nearby, a water bottle. I have a blanket or a towel. So I have a yoga blanket here because I happen to be in my studio. But if I were at home, a towel would be just fine, a bath towel or a beach towel, just anything that you can use to sit on. Even a small pillow would be fine. And what we'll do is we're going to begin today, if you'd like, an easy seat. And so an easy seat, it's just a cross of the ankles, and we find a place to comfortably sit. And so the sits bones, right, are perched up on your pillow or your blanket in a way that allows you to feel a little bit more supported and allows the hips to elevate up off the ground. And so if you want, you can walk your sits bones back and just find a seat that is supportive for your body, and bring your hands onto your knees, and you can just drop your gaze down towards the earth. If for you it's comfortable to close the eyes, you can do so, but really it's not necessary or required to do that. And what we want to do in the beginning of this class is just begin by landing as best we can on the earth, right, on your seat, and giving yourself an opportunity to be in one place, in this place, and in this moment. If you can begin to notice the cross of your ankles and your knees and hips, noticing if this arrangement has, created any discomfort in your seat. And if so, maybe adjust what you're sitting on to provide a little bit more elevation to support your hips. For some of us with, more tender knees, it might be easier to sit in a seat. And I promise that most of this class can be done by sitting in a seat, and you'll be able to experience it in the same way. So you can also come to a seat if you'd like. And so here, as best you can, maybe beginning to notice, right, how you're arriving today. If you were to be asked, how are you? What's showing up for you today? How would you answer that question? What feelings might arise as you begin to notice? And so it's important to say that we're not trying to change or modify or moderate the feelings that show up in this place. We're here to, as best we can, accept, allow, and just be present to everything that shows up. Everything that is stirred and that is cultivated in our time together. Knowing that it's all okay. Right? It's all just part of this practice. And part of being human. Part of being and just being. And so if you'd like to join me, you can extend arms out to your side, maybe flipping your palms up to the sky, and maybe, if you'd like, adding a little light inhale as you reach arms up to the sky. Not required. And then slowly, as you'd like, You can bring your hands back down to the earth. Maybe flipping palms and continuing this motion as your arms rise up to the sky. Maybe fingertips or palms touch overhead, and then maybe arms reach back down to the earth. If you'd like, we can continue this for 3 more rounds. Maybe gently touching the fingers or the palms, and then drawing hands back down to the earth. If you'd like to add breath to this movement, you can, but it's not required. Let's do 1 more together. And then draw hands down to the earth. Perfect. This time we're going to draw hands up to the sky. Breathe in, maybe lifting, maybe bringing hands together overhead. And then slowly draw hands down through heart center. And then reach and stretch arms out to the sides. And again, if you'd like, you can join me. We'll do 3 more of those. Palms touch. And then we draw hands through heart center. So really just opening up the shoulders, extending hands to the side, and allowing arms to reach and lift. Palms to touch and draw through center. Let's do 1 more together. Reach up and draw through center. There we go. Bringing your hands onto your knees, we're going to bring one hand across the body over to the opposite side. And it doesn't matter which side because we'll get to both. Bringing hand to opposite knee, we'll begin to turn to that side. And so your fingers can be down behind your back, maybe pressing lightly into the earth so that you have some support, maybe to grow a little bit taller and reach your head up to the sky. If it's comfortable and supportive for you, you could turn your heart and maybe turn your gaze so that you're looking over your back shoulder. And if you can here, begin to notice your breath. And if you've been holding your breath, maybe just allow it to pass more freely. Maybe in through your nose, and maybe out through your mouth. When you're ready, we'll bring hands back to knees, back through center, and come to the other side. So opposite hand to opposite knee, and we turn in the other direction. And again, you can start slow, slightly pressing fingertips into the ground, holding on to that knee. And if it feels comfortable and you have the space and the support, you can lift the crown of your head up to the sky, maybe get a little taller. And if you'd like, maybe turn your heart a bit more. Maybe turn your gaze over your shoulder. And if you can, maybe allow your shoulders kind of slide down your back. Drawing down, bringing a little bit of ease to your shoulders. And if you notice again that you're retaining your breath a bit, that's okay. Stop for a moment to breathe, maybe a bit deeper. And on your pace, you can slowly bring your hands back through center and we'll land here. We're going to come into cat and cow now, which is in our tabletop pose. And so if you have your blanket, again, not required, but if you happen to have a blanket or a towel and you can bring it underneath your knees, you can do that. And here in this shape, we'll bring knees onto the blanket and hands underneath the shoulders. And then if you can, spread your fingers nice and wide as if you're high-fiving the ground. Press your hands into the ground and get a little stronger in your shoulders. And then a slight lift of belly up towards spine, maybe squeezing and engaging through your core. We're going to land here for a moment and just notice the balance. Right? Maybe pressing the ground away from you and feeling some strength in your shoulders. And if it's comfortable for you, and I mean it, if it's comfortable for you, you can begin to draw your belly down to the earth and send your hips and your head up to the sky. And if this feels uncomfortable or if this is not for you today, then you can just skip it. You can stay in that tabletop pose. If you'd like, you can round the spine, dropping belly or dropping tailbone and head down to the earth. And then slowly lifting tailbone and head back up to the sky, dropping the belly down to the ground. So this is our cow pose. And then when you're ready, again, maybe shifting to the cat, rounding the cat, arching the back, right? Stretching the back muscles, feeling a little bit of space in the spine. And we'll do just a couple more exchanges of this. Just opening up through the spine. You might hear some pops and crackles. That can happen. That's okay. It's just part of the movement. And so coming back once more to your tabletop shape. This time, we're going to walk knees out nice and wide, out towards the edges of the mat, and bring your toes to touch. And then slowly, we'll send the hips back towards the heels and come into a child's pose. Now, in this pose, I'm going to give you a few options because, again, this can be very relaxing, right? It could be bringing your head all the way down to the earth, forearms touching the ground. But it doesn't have to be. You could instead, bring your forearms down onto the ground closer to your body and just look forward or look towards the ground in whatever way is comfortable and supportive for you. There are also a lot of other options. And so if you're feeling as though this is not, again, for you, or if it is not serving you right now, then that's okay. You can make a different shape. You can sit this one out. It's so important to honor where we are and as best we can, just accept it and allow it. We can accept and allow how we arrive. And we can begin that acceptance into other parts of our lives and to other ways in which we view ourselves. And finding acceptance, it's powerful and it's empowering. So we'll be here for just another breath or two. Maybe stretching the hips a bit more. Maybe crawling the hands a bit longer. And then when you're ready, you can slowly find your way back to that tabletop. So hands on the earth, knees on the earth. And then slide one knee over to the other and come onto your side. We are going to make our way onto our backs. So if you have your blanket nearby, you can move that. And then if you want, bringing your feet onto the earth, however you'd like to get there, you can slowly roll your way down to the ground. Once you arrive on the earth, your feet can find a spot on the ground. And if you'd like, you can knock your knees together with your feet out nice and wide towards the edges of the mat. Maybe you tuck your chin down towards your chest so that you have a little bit more length in the back of your neck. And if you'd like, you can bring your arms along your sides. If it's comforting to you, then you can bring the palms to touch the earth, right? And bring your hands to touch the ground. Sometimes it's comforting to bring the hands onto the hips or to the ribs, and that might support you in the shape as well. The shape is called knee knock pose. And it might just allow you a little bit of space in your spine to soften those back muscles that we worked in our tabletop shape. And so if this shape is serving you and you'd like to stay here, then you can remain in your knee knock pose and allow yourself to soften as best you can and maybe even relax towards the earth. If you'd like, you can separate your knees and then bring one knee, doesn't matter which one, towards your chest and maybe hug it with your hands. And that could be hugging the shin, and that could be hugging the back of the thigh. It doesn't matter which one. This is about offering comfort and support for your body in this moment. And sometimes these shapes don't feel comfortable or supportive at all. And so if that's the case, then you can come back to your knee knock pose or choose any other shape that will support you. If you'd like from here, you can extend your left leg or your longer leg long. And that might give you just a little bit more of a stretch in the leg. If you're comfortable and if it feels right for you today, you could soften your gaze. Maybe find a point on the wall or the ceiling to stare at. Find a gaze point. And then if possible, maybe try to soften your shoulders. Maybe walk the shoulder blades towards one another. And allow the shoulders to feel a little bit of release or softness on the earth. And then slowly, we will bring feet on your pace. And if you'd like, back to both feet on the earth. You can pause here and maybe imagine that you can see, the difference between the feeling in one leg versus the other. Do you notice anything different? Sometimes yes, right? Sometimes no. And there's no right answer here. And so if you'd like, you can bring the opposite knee in towards your chest. And if you prefer, that could be hugging your shin right below your knee or hugging your thigh, right, as you bring it towards your ribs. Again, as much as you can, maybe allowing the shoulders to feel supported by the earth, maybe softening them a bit. And if you can, right, maybe noticing if you can slow down your breath. And if not, that's okay too. If you'd like, you can slowly start to bring that other leg long, maybe getting a little bit more of a stretch. And again, as best you can, finding maybe a little bit of rest in this shape. You can remain here as long as you'd like. If you are ready to transition and come into our very last shape, and you can slowly bring both feet back down to the earth. And again, here, maybe notice if anything has shifted or changed, or if you notice any sensations in your legs that might feel a little different. And for our rest pose today, if you'd like, you can walk your feet out to the edges and knock your knees together, finding your knee knock pose. And if you'd like, you can maybe send both legs long and rest your arms on the earth. Again, maybe your palms are facing the sky and maybe the palms are touching the ground. If it's comfortable for you and you're feeling safe and supported, you could close your eyes or gently soften your gaze as we come into a rest shape. And in your rest, if you can, maybe allow every muscle to feel a little softer. Maybe let your bones feel heavy. Maybe feel a sense of softness or release, but only to the good degree that is comfortable and supportive for you. as we rest, it can be nice to notice or sense or feel or imagine space. A space in between your toes, the space in between your fingers, a space around you, the space of your breath. If you feel comfortable and supported in this shape, dear yogi, then you can remain here. Maybe rest a bit longer and allow your practice to remain on the earth for just a little bit longer. If you'd like to join me, you could bend your knees and bring your feet back onto the earth. And however you'd like to do this, maybe roll to a side. Again, no need to follow exactly. And here on your side, you can notice for a moment this pause, the feeling of being on the earth, the end of our class. And when you're ready, and if you'd like, you can come up to a seat. And maybe find a comfortable, easy seat with your ankles crossed and your head tall. If you'd like, you can stack hands on heart and maybe drop your gaze and offer a moment of gratitude and kindness to yourself. Doing this practice, right, yoga, movement, taking care of oneself is a revolutionary act. It's a big deal. And so in this moment, maybe offer some gratitude to yourself. Way to go. Good job. And together, you can close maybe just with this feeling of gratitude and appreciation. Thank you, dear yogi, for practicing with me today. I hope this class offered you something that is supportive and gave you what you were hoping to receive or experience today. If you have any questions about trauma-informed yoga, if you have any questions about gentle yoga, if you'd like to learn more about this practice or have questions for me, you can always comment in this post or in this class, and I'm happy to answer it. And again, I will, after this, post a link to an email list where you can join that, and then you'll have my contact information so that you can reach out to me via email if that's easier. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I look forward to practicing with you maybe again soon. Be well. Bye, everybody.